Well, I guess it was time for me to be late with one of these again. Ray? Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly navel-gazing a day late because, yeah, it's Tuesday, but I just couldn't get it done yesterday for reasons. I was just very, very tired and exhausted. Maybe that will come up later in these ramblings, but for now we'll be doing the thing that we always do, which is talk about the books I read, talk about the books I plan to read, talk about the videos I did not make, and talk about the videos that I plan to make. And we'll also have the announcement for a very special live stream that will happen on the 17th of December. So mark that one in your calendars. It's going to be great. I'm incredibly excited about that one. But, you know, let's do the proper order of things and start with all the books I read. And I did, in fact, read some books. I did finish my reread of that first R.A. Salvatore trilogy, that being the Icewind Dale trilogy, because round here we're doing publication order or nothing. And yeah, I did that. The last book is, as I remembered, pretty fucked up and bad. Already. I'm very scared to go back to the Dark Elf trilogy, which is the next one in publication order. We'll see how that one goes. So yeah, I finished that one, which would be, you know, the Halfling's Gem is the final one in that series. Yeah, not a good book. But there we are. And then I did, in fact, reread Slaughterhouse-5 by Kurt Vonnegut, which is, well, it's a masterpiece of a book that is all weird and jagged edges, because maybe that's just the only way you can write about certain things. If you have never read it, go read it. It's maybe a science fiction novel, it's maybe a bit of a war memoir, it's maybe even something else, and it kind of centers around the trauma of, well, surviving World War II as a prisoner of war in Dresden while it gets firebombed. It's a powerful text. It's short. If you haven't read it yet and you think you can stand that kind of, emotional stress, go read it. It's it's incredibly powerful, is my point. So yeah, that's something I read. And then I did, in fact, read something new, which is The Middle Kingdoms by Professor Martin Radi. It's a history of Central Europe, or as it styles itself, a new history of Central Europe. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. It certainly has its problems, which are probably not apparent unless you're already, fairly well versed in history of, Central Europe. And it is, of course, it's an overview. It's somewhere in the 500-ish page range, I think. And it covers an area from more or less Germany, sometimes going all the way into, the Netherlands and Belgium and so forth, all the way to, the borders of Russia and beyond, and into the Balkans from time to time. So it is a huge area, and it covers that time, that place, an area from, around, ancient history, basically, all the way to the present day. So it's also a lot of time, so you only get a very, very, overview kind of perspective on these parts of history. If you want that kind of overview and have never looked into, the history of Germany, what is now Czech Republic, Bohemia, being an important place at the time, Hungary, those places, if you've never, looked at history of that area in general, then I do recommend it. It does, especially in like the earlier parts, the ancient history and parts of the medieval history stuff, it does definitely gloss over things. I would have personally loved to have a longer part about, say, the Hussite and the rebellions and stuff like that, but that's, as I said, if you have 500 pages to cover 2,000 years and that large an area, stuff gets left out. So good book if you need like an introduction to this area, which I recognized not most, a lot of people do need, because the image of especially medieval history that we get from and that has impacted a lot of fantasy is very much focused on Britain and France in parts, and there are some fundamental differences. And since a lot of fantasy is inspired by that kind of British or French medieval image, that has had a huge impact on fantasy. So maybe go read a book about Central Europe for once. And then I did reread Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett, which is the 37th Discworld novel for our ongoing Discworld read-along, which is slowly coming to an end. There's only 4 books left, which is sad. And we had our discussion about that. That's all the books I read last week. So what will I be reading this week? Well, I'm glad you didn't ask, because I'm going to tell you anyways. So there's a bunch of things I'm going to read over the next couple of days. Or reread. One of them will be The Last Days of New Paris by China Mieville. One of them will definitely be Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. And then I'll hopefully start reading To Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer. It's a book that some people have told me to read for years, and we finally found a time for me to actually do so. It'll be a buddy read I'll be doing with Vasha over at Reading at the Rainy Mountain, and other people. Well, one other person, but I don't want to, name names of people that are not booktubers. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm finally going to read it. I hope I'll enjoy it. But it'll probably be a while before I say anything about it. And that covers my reading plans, I guess. Obviously, I'll also do some more Drizzt reading if I get the time. But time might be in short supply. Which brings me to the videos. I didn't do any. It's pretty simple. I didn't do any videos. I just didn't have an idea for something to do. And then over the weekend, I went back to visit with family for reasons, and that did also, mean I didn't have time to make some videos. I did, however, join Matt on Books over on his Sunday pub on Sunday evening, and we did, of course, have our Terry Pratchett discussion for the read-along, which is, not online, well, not streamed or anything. It's just a private thing for people who are not public-facing YouTubers. So if you want to join us for the next one, which will be about I Shall Wear Midnight, you better join the Discord and hang out with us in a couple of weeks when we talk about, another Tiffany Aching book. So that's all I did. Let's look at possible videos for the upcoming week. And once again, time may be part of the problem here. See, I'll be traveling tomorrow until probably Monday morning. I'll be traveling to the wonderful town of Osijek in Slavonia, which is in Croatia, to hang out with history students and friends to talk about war. And I'll be talking about war and fiction, which may explain why I did recently reread, stuff like Slaughterhouse-5, and why I read The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, and why I'm planning to reread The Last Days of New Paris before I actually arrive there, because I'll be talking about war and fiction. Well, and, those are books about war, is my point. But that also means that I'll be, traveling and being at a conference and stuff like that, so I won't be able to record videos until I come back here on probably Monday. I'll try to record my video for Unseen Academicals before then, which means later today, so it can be up tomorrow or Thursday, and just maybe I'll come up with another video idea. We will see. I have an idea. It'll be something y'all have been asking for, sort of, so we'll see if that works. So there are plans for videos. It'll just kind of depend on how much time I have to actually record stuff while also packing and, getting my shit together. That kind of stuff. And that's all the plans for this week. But fear not, I mentioned a special live stream on the 17th of December at 10 p.m. my time, which is German time, GMT +1 for those who don't know. Yeah. I'll have a live stream, and I have a very special guest for that live stream. I'm incredibly excited because Nicola Griffith has agreed to come on for a live stream to have a discussion of, all things about Hild and Meanwood. Possibly we can sneak in some spear discussion as well. We will know. We will find out. But yeah, it'll be a live stream, and so that means you can watch us have a conversation and ask your own questions in chat. And if you have not read any of Nicola Griffith's books yet, well, you've got like 2 weeks' time, which is enough for at least one of them, I think. I hope. So I don't know. Get your get your Nicola Griffith reading on, and please join us for that special live stream. It's really, really cool for an author. For an author of that stature to agree to show up on a very small booktube channel and face people in a live stream to actually answer questions and so forth, I'm incredibly grateful for that. And it would be awesome if a lot of people showed up and made this a really special evening. There may even be beers that get drunk, or so I've been told. So that's the special announcement. Beyond that, yeah, I don't know. It's the end of the year. Things are getting weird. We did, in fact, get a lot of snow in Germany over the last week, and snow is kind of fucked up. I mean, snow is great. Don't get me wrong. I love snow. I love actually skiing. It's awesome. I've done it before a lot. I like it. What, however, I don't like is walking around in snow, because you may not know that, but if you're blind, you're using a stick to find your way. Turns out that if the street is covered by a couple of inches of snow, that doesn't work so well anymore, which makes a lot of stuff even more difficult. And it's just something that's been bothering me. I had to go to do some stuff in town and stuff like that, go to different shops, and it's just so fucking exhausting in general, like walking through the snow, trying to find your way, all of these things, then having to find my way through, shops I don't usually frequent, which means I have to ask people for help or just try to find stuff, and, it's we're close to the holiday season, so if you do these kind of things on a weekend, everyone is out there trying to shop Christmas presents and whatnot, and it's so fucking stressful. I'm just so exhausted. And something I realized, which is probably part of why I didn't do a video last week, is like, yeah, I'm running out of energy on like a physical level, not a mental level necessarily, although these things are obviously connected. And after 2 hours of trying to make my way through a really crowded inner city, I'm very tired mentally as well. But it's mostly a physical thing, and I'm struggling with it. Probably part of that is also, it's winter, it's grey outside. I wake up, it's still dark. I go to bed. Well, I mean, it gets dark around 5-ish p.m. at this point. So yeah, maybe a lot of these things are kind of tying into that. Also, there's obviously that whole, we're reaching the end of the year. A lot of stuff is getting, is winding down. And yeah, so I've been struggling with just keeping my energy up, which, as I said, kind of contributes to me not making videos. I hope I'll find a way to get over that over the next couple of days. Going to a conference and stuff like that is always really cool. You meet friends, you hang out with people you haven't seen in a couple of weeks, months, years, depending on who you're talking about, and it's awesome to do that. And you can catch up, you have really cool conversations about all kinds of odd, weird, crazy topics, and I love it. The question is, can I then take all that excitement and bottle it up and then use it when I'm back home and need something to kind of kick me in the ass to actually do shit? Which we will see. We will find out next week, I assume. So I guess the next Navel-Gazing might also be only on Tuesday, depending on how long it'll take me to get back from the wonderful town of Osijek, because the bus ride is 20 hours, plus whatever happens with the weather. And that means I'll probably be pretty knackered when I get back on Monday. So, I don't know. Things are weird in general at the moment, which I think is that, that whole end-of-year weirdness. I wish I knew how to avoid that. But our society has decided that, at the end of December, this year ends and there's a new one. So we all have to kind of step back and get started again and create this artificial sort of reference point in the year. I mean, there's obviously reasons for having that. they're interesting in their own right. I just think it sometimes, at least for someone like me, it kind of does bring some like perils, or there's certainly some harm that it can do, where I'm like falling into holes I try to avoid throughout the year, but suddenly you have this, like, everyone around you screams like, hey, so what did you do last year? What's your top 10 books of last year? I don't have them. What's your general assessment of, did you achieve your goals last year? What's your goals for next year? It's like, survival. Mostly survival. It's the one goal I'm still able to achieve, which is good. But it's, yeah, sometimes enforced reflection from the outside, enforced reflection is not good, because yes, I agree that we should all reflect about our own, habits, our lives, and so forth. I think it's a really good thing, but I also believe that it has to be done when you're in the right, frame of mind, and when everyone is doing it at the same time, that's not necessarily the right frame of mind, because it automatically leads to, comparisons. And then there's people going like, God, I read like 500 books last year, and these are the 10 books everyone should read. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm over here and I've done basically nothing, which obviously is not true, but you know what I mean. It's like, these comparisons are kind of a bit of a problem, because we live in a society where comparisons and competition is so deeply ingrained. Certainly something that I may come back to in future videos and projects and so forth, that this can actually cause a lot of, pain and suffering. And turns out I'm not that much into pain and suffering. Weird, I know. You wouldn't believe it, right? But it's true. And so I'll try to figure out how to get through all of these things and, avoid most of that. My hope is that doing the 13 days of Drismas will help me with that, because it means having to do, videos throughout that period, all the way to, Epiphany, which is the 6th of January. So maybe I can avoid the whole, stop of everything. We will see. It's, complicated, just like life. So, I don't know. Let me know what you did last week. Did you actually read cool books? Did you do cool things? Have you read some Nicola Griffith yet? Are you planning to? Will you join the live stream? I really hope so. And, I don't know. Have a good week. Read some cool books. And I'll talk to you about something meaningful, sort of, very soon. And until then, thanks and cheers.